So, okay, friends. So I'm not entirely obviously pleased with what happened here,
But we
and
do
I'm
have
going.
Vera now.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Vera. Go ahead.
Yes, Vera, you can unmute yourself, please.
Is it? Can you?
Yep. Good.
Yeah. So, a question: do all the emanations, all the cosmic beings, do they have to manifest and descend right into the cosmic physical?
No.
No.
As a matter of fact, let's take an analogy. When you look, as I cannot now look at the planetary chains, let's stick to the cosmic physical for a moment. We have globe lords whose lowest vehicle is the etheric. We have globe lords whose lowest vehicle is the astral. Even we have these relatively great entities whose lowest vehicle is the mental. So if we expand that idea onto the cosmic planes, we can say that there are probably entities that never even reach the cosmic physical manifestation, but whose, and now I'll make the analogy, their lowest vehicle, well, if it is the cosmic etheric, of course, it's part of the cosmic physical plane, because ether and physicality, they are somewhat alike. But there will be great beings whose manifestation goes no lower than the cosmic astral. Great beings whose manifestation goes no lower than the cosmic mental, and so forth. So there's no reason why all entities have necessarily to make their way into the densest levels of the cosmic physical plane. Now, another thing that backs up that idea is that DK tells us that regarding entities in incarnation, that only 1/7 of all entities at any one time are in incarnation, and the other 6/7 are not.
Mm-hmm.
Now that, that's a general principle. But what it tends, and then here's another thing related on a much more practical level. He says, you are a member of a group. Do you realize how much bigger the group is in the unmanifested worlds than it is on your own level? Yeah. So in fact, the great majority of the entities which might, under certain circumstances, descend all the way into dense physicality are not there. They are on successively higher levels, and they only go down so far. And when you look at our planet, this has to do with globes, it has to do with chains, and there are also planets that just don't even have a dense physical nature. The etheric body will be considered the lowest nature. So there's no way to assert that the very highest beings have to descend all the way into the densest levels. I mean, in a way, Sanat Kumara can be found on the cosmic ethers and some kind of reflection on the systemic ethers, but that's it. There's a Shambhala that is a lower etheric manifestation and a truer Shambhala, which is a cosmic etheric manifestation. Now, as to which entities stop at what point,
Yeah.
I don't think we can know that exactly.
So are we the lucky ones or unlucky ones?
I think what we are is entities which have long been associated with the dense type of matter found in the previous solar system.
Mhm.
And somehow it is the karma or dharma of the earth logos to work through the leftovers of that previous solar system. There's no question that our degree of bondage is greater than that of the entities on many other planets, because we are so held down by the leftover karmic substance, karmically conditioned substance of the previous solar system. In the long run, I think we Earth beings and our logos are involved in a great subjective act of redemption that is very important for the solar logos, and that it is a sacrificial mission that Earth is on, and maybe Mars and Saturn have the same, or something sacrificial along that line. When you go to Esoteric Psychology 2, and right around page 99, 100, right in there, it's under the law of sacrifice, and it talks about the triple entity which is involved in this sacrificial work. That entity is comprised of Saturn, Mars, and Earth. Is it lucky? Well, it's painful.
Yes.
But it may, in the last analysis, give that kind of cosmic joy that comes with sacrifice, I guess.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Vera. Yeah. Oh, I just want to see, I think the moon is in Aries right now. And, but my computer is so utterly messed up at the moment that there we go. Oh, now, actually, I'm experiencing a version of the Sorcerer's Apprentice right at this moment. The buckets of water and the brooms are multiplying, and they're out of my control. So I'm just going to try to just stay here without trying any rescue mission just yet. Okay.
Well, we have another question, comment from Manish writing, in India, we thought that Vishnu is Lord of all gods, but theosophy differs.
Yes. Well, yeah, what we have, it just depends on where the emphasis is. Now, the rays of India, as given by the Tibetan, who, we have to kind of remember that his focus has been in northern India, and he has a big background there even before Tibet and in the West. It just depends on whether it seems logical to you. He equates Shiva with the first aspect, the destroyer and creator, the great yes and no. You shall live, you shall not live. The power of will. Vishnu and Surya, the sun god, are considered equivalent. And at the present time, Manish, we are living in a second ray solar system, according to this mode of theosophy. Now, that does mean, in a sense, that Vishnu in this solar system is the most powerful. And even though not associated with the first aspect, is the supreme deity for this solar system. So in a way, our solar god is Vishnu, is Surya, is the second great ray of synthesis in our little universe we call the solar system. So Vishnu is the most powerful in that sense. However, in the next solar system, it's going to be, so to speak, the red system. And the personality ray of the solar logos will be the first. The soul ray will remain the second, but the emergence of the first ray will be very prominent. And then we might be able to call it, from a certain perspective, the Shiva system. Now, I cannot go back to the diagram because, you know, the computer will just do something and it'll take me a long time to recover it. But you may remember that the solar god was up here, our solar logos, and below it were three interlocking circles. Those interlocking circles represent the powers of the three major solar systems. Father, in the Christian terminology, Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. But in the Hindu terminology, it will represent Shiva, the Father, Vishnu, Surya, the Son, and Brahma, the Holy Spirit. The last solar system was a Brahma system. Presently, Vishnu is the great king. This is a Vishnu system, Vishnu Surya. The next solar system will be a Shiva system, and all of it under the great solar logos, for whom the Vishnu aspect is the most essential, because our solar logos has, I think, finally, a second ray monad, a fourth to second ray monad, which is Vishnu. So behind the scenes, Vishnu is the most powerful. I hope that clarifies what the Tibetan theosophy is trying to tell us, and maybe compares it with what, you know, is being learned in India along similar lines.
And then Ra's, I think, referring to the various entities, if you will, externalizing or manifesting. Ra's writes, what about the externalizations of the hierarchy?
Well, you know, we have to use analogy always, because, you know, the idea of hierarchy is a universal idea. And there is not only a hierarchy of advanced human beings, there is a great Deva hierarchy in which the Raja Deva lords are like the leaders of the ashrams in the human terminology. There's a hierarchy of planets in which the synthesizing planets take the foremost position, almost like the three great lords of hierarchy, you know, the Manu, Bodhisattva, Mahachohan. The three synthesizing planets are like they are. And then come the sacred planets, and then come the non-sacred planets. So that principle operates. I'm quite sure that when it comes to solar logoi, the principle of hierarchy holds, and let's say that the logos of Sirius is in a higher category in that hierarchy than the non-sacred logos of our sun, our solar logos, who's not yet, not yet emerged out of the 4 into the 3. Now, I think we could keep that principle going. I think we could look at this great being called the one about whom naught may be said, and we could say that there are constellations which are part of a still greater hierarchy than stars, and that some of them would be the equivalent of the 3 synthesizing planets, the 3 great lords, the 3 great Raja Deva lords, Shiva, Vishnu, Brahma, and on we go. And that certain of the constellations in that great one about whom naught may be said are non-sacred constellations, whereas others are sacred. I have a feeling that Capricorn is one of the sacred constellations on that level. And also, I think the Great Bear may be one of those more developed constellations. And we will not stop, even when we're dealing with arms of galaxies, families of galaxies. My point is, it is all hierarchically arranged. So our little hierarchy of men, of human beings, is just a reflection of these, of the tenfoldness or the sevenfoldness that is found in all of the superior hierarchies. We reflected it's kind of holographic in that respect. And I think, that analogically, that is pretty clear. Now, maybe the very highest members of our hierarchy may not be the first to externalize. I think certain other members of our hierarchy will come out first, and then only later will the supreme heads make their appearance on the dense physical plane. It's a big subject that you have asked about here. You want to repeat the question, Michael, just to round it off.
What about the externalizations of the hierarchy?
Yeah, well, actually, he talks about ashrams, 5 ashrams, which are active in propelling the initial stages of the externalization. He also tells us, by the way, that it doesn't happen all at once, that there is a coming out and a going back, and it spans a long period of time in the Aquarian age. But the ashram of Master Morya, the ashram of Master Kutumi, the ashram of a certain, I believe, English master, maybe on the 3rd ray, the ashram of Master R, and the ashram of Master DK, expressing right human relations, are the initial ashrams to impel the externalization. So we have, I think, rays 1, 2, and 3. The only one I'm a little uncertain about is whether that's a 3rd ray or a 5th ray ashram which is one of the impelling ashrams, because it seems to me that there's a lot going on the fifth ray at this time. So that's in the book Externalization of the Hierarchy, and in the later pages of it, and we can find which are the five. But gradually they will all come out. It will take centuries before this will occur, and certain of them will be more important during the Aquarian age than others. Ashrams 1, 2, and 7 will be very, very important. So, you know, the whole book about the externalization is really dealing with that question, what about that? And later, toward the latter part of the book, he gets more specific about the particular masters involved and the timing of all of this. I don't think we can, I think in the next 100 years, we have to work at the dissipation of the Piscean sixth ray energy and a non-cataclysmic dissipation. In other words, it's possible to have wars and dramatic destructive events, or it's possible to make a smoother transition into the Aquarian age. We have to work for these smoother transition. And meanwhile, in the 5 planetary centers, and not all at once, certain masters will be establishing their presence, gathering their initiates around them, their masters and initiates, and preparing for the time when they will be consulted regarding the trend of world affairs. So, you know, there I think it's pretty much, if I remember correctly, page 649 and 699 of externalization of the hierarchy. But it's not an all-at-once process. It's all very measured according to the need, and we can help educate humanity about these things. Okay. Any other? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Michael.
No other questions. Leslie did confirm that the moon is in Aries, and now Anne Veronica has written, could we see the externalization of the hierarchy in a different way? For hierarchy to externalize to humanity, humanity will have risen its vibration and has taken a certain initiation, so it will be able to see and recognize the hierarchy.
Well, that kind of thing can happen among certain types of initiates, but we do have to remember that even to get a certain proportion of humanity, and not really a really big proportion, to take even the first initiation is a step in front of us. And those who take the first initiation are known for the will to improve their life, for their desire to meditate, for their heart-opening service and so forth, but they are not known for the kinds of penetrating psychic gifts which would reveal hierarchy on its own planes in a sensory manner. In other words, the first degree initiate has not yet developed necessarily spiritual telepathy. Response to group vibration is in process. spiritual discernment is coming along. Almost none of the Buddhic faculties are there. None of the Atmic faculties are there. And basically, the sacrifice that hierarchy is involved with is precisely that they will externalize on the very densest levels in Maya Virupas, most of them. I mean, maybe DK, we don't know whether he has taken on a Maya Virupa or whether he's still in that particular, body that was born in a natural way. But that even the Christ himself will not demand that human higher psychism be needed to detect him. Every eye shall see him is the sentence that we go by, and the Tibetan repeats that sentence, and that means every eye. And that means that even average humanity, with no particular penetrating gifts at all, will see him, but they may not know, what he really is. In a way, he's coming for his own. So the appearance of Christ and the masters on the densest levels is what is being engineered at this time. That there are some human beings who, with the higher psychism, can meet the masters on higher levels, that is also true. But it's not the way that involves the majority of human beings. At least, and Veronica, that's how I understand it at this time.
And I am seeing no hands raised, and oops, and Veronica has her hand raised, and you can unmute yourself.
Does she want to speak?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, and Veronica, yes, we hear you.
It doesn't let me unmute immediately. Sorry for the delay. Thank you for the answer, because I was really thinking that maybe humanity has to rise to hierarchy. Of course, on the other hand, I had the question that if Christ is seen by all, I was thinking that the masters, they don't even let us see a hand of them, because we will get a great shock. But you said we won't recognize him.
Okay, now let me see if I understood the last part of what you just said. So far, DK has said that the masters are not, in general, walking among men. Master Jesus may meet more or less in person with some of his high disciples, and they would recognize him. That's a very isolated kind of event. Maybe Master DK, the same thing, but that's just for the few. But there's going to be a big expansion of recognition, and such an expansion that there is really an appeal made to the places, to the planetary centers where these masters will locate. And the big sacrifice will be their visibility, their adaptation to the crude conditions of the lower three planes, especially. So I have no doubt about their visibility, their tangibility, even though their vehicles may have been generated through Kriya Shakti, through some of the high powers in the Maya Virupa. They will look normal, like normal human beings, even though the vehicle may have been generated in a different way. And there will be consultation on the outer plane, but there will not necessarily be full recognition of what we are beginning to understand when we study occultism. The often repeated statement is, yes, every eye shall see him, and to a certain extent, them as well. I have no doubt that Master DK will be working in a tangible manner, reintroducing the methods of healing, ancient methods, right here on the physical plane. And he does say that there's a lot of meditative things that you need to know, but you can't know them until there's a teacher with you in physical presence that really can study the reactions that are happening within your energy system and vehicle. So that hints at the idea that these teachers will be right out there and visible, and by many known for who they are. And humanity's rising up, yes, it will occur, but only to a certain extent. It is not yet that humanity as a whole can take the second initiation. There's quite a bit of time involved in general for that kind of preparation. But that enough of humanity could take the first initiation to elevate the whole, that is what is promised, even though the revelations that come with that are not of the masters on their own planes. That's why the master has to make the descent into normal visibility. At least that's how I understand it.
Okay, thank you. May I ask
Okay.
one more question?
You are so full of questions. Okay, go ahead. Sure.
I can't help it. It's the fifth ray mind. I can't get away from it.
Yeah, definitely you have these mental rays operating for you. Yeah.
Well, I was reading in Initiation Human and Solar about the formulas and that the symbols that are written with the formulas for us to understand give us seven animals. One of them is the dragon. You talked today about the dragon of wisdom and the lion. And as I saw the animals, the first thing I was wondering is there is no animals that have to do with water. The animals he gave the dog, the elephant, the human being, the Taurus, the ram, the lion, and the bear. He didn't give, and the dragon, but he didn't give anything that has to do with the sea. And I was wondering why. And today you said that matter, the sea of water for us is matter, and in my mind came Cancer and Virgo. So why is the sea and the symbol of the animals of the sea left out in the formulas? Is it too old for us, or is it too high enough for us?
That's quite a question. I can't turn there now because of the condition of my computer. But what page is that on? Do you know?
Yes, I know. I found it. It's in page. Oh, I lost it. Yes, it's in page 166 of Initiation Human and Solar. It just says the symbols that the formulas are written. Of course, he's talking for a very high formulas and a very high level, but I was just wondering why the creatures of the sea are left out.
Okay, well, that's something I think we have to see whether anything that would take in the astral plane is somehow included. So let me think about that, Anne Veronica, when I can look at the context, and I just don't want to try to respond to that off the top of my head. I'd like to see how he
time.
Yes, how he prepares that discussion. Okay, I need to read into the context in order to be able to maybe offer a little something, which I will do. So 166, and we can take that up at another time. The animals, some of them seem to be in the Chinese zodiac, don't they?
Well, the dragon is in
And
the
the dog,
Chinese.
and the dog.
The dog,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. And
The bear and the lion, I don't think.
let's see. I don't think we have a lion in the. We have a tiger in the
Yes.
Chinese zodiac. Yes, and we have a bear. Did you say a bear? Generally, yeah.
It's the bear, the lion, the Taurus, the
Now,
ram.
did you say tortoise?
Taurus, not the turtle. Taurus, the bull, the bull.
Okay, and does he call it Taurus or does he call it the bull?
I've got the Greek book here. He says it's Taurus in Greek.
Okay,
Taurus.
okay. Anyway, he has the ox in Chinese zodiac, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
there is something similar there. It seems to me that this is not simply derived from our astrological system, but that other systems are involved as well. So, you know, he doesn't have the whale, he doesn't have the, you know, the great fishes and so forth. The question is, what are these different animals meant to represent? What kind of process do they represent? Now, generally, when you speak of formulas, you go into 7 formulas which are found in Discipleship Volume 2. You're familiar with that, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So that takes it, you know, he takes it up to formula number 6, and I think he leaves the 7th formula for our own. He doesn't discuss it much. But those are specific formulas. And what I would like to do is to see whether there's any connection between these particular symbolic animals and those formulas, or whether we're dealing with something zodiacal, dealing with something planar, dealing with initiatory status in some way. There's different things to which they could refer. So I'll take a look at it. I'll take a look at it, then we can discuss it.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you, thank you. Okay, Michael, are we there?
I think we are there. It's 5 minutes to the top of our second hour.
Yeah.
So
Divine hint.
if you'd like, I can pull up
The Great Invocation.
the Great Invocation and put it on my screen.
Sure, because I can't even move from where I am. Well, and friends, look, you know, I still don't know what happened. Something on my keyboard got pressed, and I have one keyboard on top of another because certain keys have stopped working, and the Apple keyboard pressed down on the PC keyboard and produced what you saw happen. So my apologies for that, because it certainly did waste 10 minutes and was a little bit disorienting. What I have discovered is that in this commentary, I've gone into detail to such an extent that all of the detail is not suitable for the kind of format we're having right now. In other words, I just can't and should not cover every little thing. I should cover the high points. And that's what I will attempt to do. But if you want more of the detail on Makara, and I think Michael also said how you can, you know, he sent you something along this line. You can read these things, ponder them, which is what is required, and then more of the detail will emerge. I admit it, you know, to read a bunch of footnotes is maybe not the most inspiring thing, but we're making our way. We have the internal fires today. We have latent heat, which is the lower part of fire by friction. And we have active heat, which is more pranic, etheric. We have the idea that active heat drives the latent heat of dense physical matter and drives it in certain directions and into certain forms. We also have the idea that while this kind of relationship does apply to our normal etheric physical plane, it also applies to the entire cosmic physical plane. And I'm just doing a little review here. We have the idea that the principle of hierarchy does not only exist with man, it is extensive and has to do with all of these different atoms. We reviewed the idea that the number of Brahma is 5 and relates to the previous solar system. And you know, I just want to make a musical note here. There is a scale in music called the pentatonic scale. It has only 5 notes. And it's kind of like a particular mode. It's quite ancient, and it seems to be the way music was written in certain of the Eastern countries. I do believe it comes from the previous solar system. The 7-note scale is our scale in this particular solar system, and then 9 is the number of the next and coming and completing solar system. Solar system number 6, or 3rd major, which will be rounded out as a 7th solar system in the eternal now, so to speak, in the eternal now. So, yeah, there have been a number of very technical things said, and as I reviewed what we'd have to get into to really, in a 5th ray manner, I would say, explore all those details, I decided that no, we can't really do that in this type of format. So those, I think, are the major points which have come up today, other than the fact that when the computer goes haywire, I don't know what to do, but I thank you all who are more expert than I am for your suggestions, which I didn't manage to read. All right, friends, now we will close with the great invocation tonight, glamour. On GoToWebinar, we have our glamour meeting. And Michael, do they have the glamour link in there at all? Uh-oh. Something's happening. Anyway, the glamour link, which I think is somehow always the same now these days, will be operative at 5 p.m. GMT. And we are in the very swirl of glamour at the moment, with important issues for humanity being decided. So join us if you wish, and we will try to help using the technique of light to help dissipate these glamours which have captured so many.
With glamour, it's the same webinar, GoToWebinar link that we've been using for many months.
Okay, so we're just assuming that the people who are here have that, or if not, and it can be put in the chat box, that would be That would be excellent. Okay. The Great Invocation. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Well, friends, thank you very much. And Michael Stacy, if we can talk to Michael Crow, he may help us eliminate all of that, wild irrelevance that was going on in the middle of the program. Just, we can cut it out and it will be more useful to people. So thank you, and see some of you for glamour, dissipation of glamour, in another X number of hours here, not later on towards evening here in Europe. All the best, many blessings, lots of love from all of us on the communications team, and we'll be with you. Okay, bye-bye.